Hello, everybody. This episode of the Lewis Sabin video podcast is, of course, brought to you because of a huge thanks to Joe Rogan and the JRE, the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, available on iTunes, Ustream, and YouTube. Without Joe, I would have never thought to have even attempted this, and because of his podcast and my listening to him, I decided that, you know what, screw it, I was going to try my own thing. And now we have this. We, of course, are also sponsored because of a huge thanks. Or not sponsored, I apologize. Brought to you by a huge thanks to Zions and its energy. The only energy drink I drink, 0 calories, no sugar, and it does not give you the crash or the jitters. Sorry, I'm trying to take the price tag off the top of the can. Here we go. Today I'm drinking Blue Pomegranate. It is amazing. Of course, has, as I said, no crash, no jitters, and it doesn't taste like crap. It actually tastes fruity and delicious. I am not sponsored by either of these companies. I'm just a huge fan. Although if they'd like to sponsor me, that would be fantastic. I'm not going to say no. I have some big news that I have to get off my chest, which is why I may seem a little bit distracted. Also, we'll be covering UFC 191, INVICTA FC 14, and BELLATOR 141. I'll also be covering some of the other sports that are coming up this weekend and a new video game that I just bought. Might cover a couple. I'll think about it. Might cover a couple that are supposed to come out that I'm interested in, but one that I just recently bought and started playing. So let's crack this baby open. Okay. The first bit of news, which is why I haven't had a podcast in a while, and wow, I almost can't make it through that sentence. And why I'm a little bit distracted is the 11th podcast that I did with my dog, and I said that we'd had a health scare, and 2 days after I made that, we put him down. Bernie had diabetes. He wasn't eating, and we didn't want to watch him starve to death. And so we brought him into the vet, and he just he wouldn't eat. They couldn't find what was wrong with him, and they said that was pretty much our only option. And so we ended his suffering, and now hopefully he's in a better place. And it's eerie and weird to walk around this house and not see him. And pardon my emotions, I was very attached. I wrote a little something, which is going to make me cry even more, that I thought I'd share. Bernie, my buddy, my pal, my cuddle bud. So many things have happened in your life. We elected Obama, and of course you were born at the end of Bush. You pestered, licked, and loved Reggie, our other dog that we had, all the way up until his last days. You made friends both Canine, Jack, Jetta, Reggie, Lexi, Odie, Rudy, and Mercedes. You tried to play with Vincent, but he was too big. Friend of ours dog. And of course human friends. Some who will be happy to see you again, and of course are no longer with us, Ian and Bob. And of course those who are still here and miss you very much. Aaron and Nikki, Katie and Jason. Ryan and Katie, I apologize. Jason, Jason and Robin. Eric and Susanna. Jordan, Christian, Chelsea, Rick, Steph, Mary and Tiny, and of course our old neighbor Karen. And those of us who love you forever. My mother, Laura Dewey, my stepdad, Brian, and myself. You ate our house and garage. If I remember correctly, you ate a sofa, a couch, I apologize, a love seat, a chair, a Papazan chair. You destroyed 3 kennels, ate our drywall, attempting to break back in the house, and of course the door leading into from the garage. You broke our fence, and that was when we dubbed you the most expensive dog ever. And even in the end, it was still expensive. You kissed Wabe, spoke through bowls at us, found out how to let yourself in through the slider into the house, and you memorized where the treats were and knew how to bug everyone to give you one. You carried a mustache, and most of all, you were always there. And now that you're not, it's the most unbearable thing ever. You ate our house, and we loved you. And you loved us back. Unconditionally. I will never forget you, my burn dog, my friend, my snuggle buddy, my pal. Your boy misses you, and I thank you for the time you spent with us. Sorry. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. I love you more than you will ever know, Bernie. Now that I've done through that that I needed to do, we'll get to sports. August 28th of 2015, today, Bellator will be on Spike. It's local channel number 59. I don't know what it is for everybody else. And the card starts off with Emmanuel Sordi and AJ Matthews. The second fight on the card is Derek Anderson and Brett Primus. The third fight on the card is Curtis Melander and Steve Casio. I don't know how to pronounce his name. The fourth fight on the card is Johnny Cisneros and Gabriel Miglioli, something like that. Sorry if I'm murdering your name. 5 is Ray Sloan and Luke Bundoli. 5th is AJ McKee and James Barnes. Number 7 is Maria Rios and Inimale McFarlane. The 8th fight on the card is Adriana Jenkins and Lysetta Neri. The 9th fight on the card is Marlos Coena and Ariane Biancao. The 10th fight on the card is Rafael Butler and Lorenzo Hood. The 11th fight on the card is Justin Wren and Josh Burns. The 12th fight on the card is Patricky Pitbull and Syed Awad. And, of course, the main event, and the reason I'm covering this at all, is Melvin Gillard and Brandon Gertz. Melvin Gillard, of course, fought in the UFC. He was recently cut. I didn't personally agree with the release of him, but they did cut him nonetheless. And now he is fighting this weekend on Bellator. Melvin Gillard is 32-14-2 win-loss draw. He's coming off of a loss to Justin Gothajay at WSOF. Before that, he had won against Giese Cavalcante at WSOF. Before that, he had lost and had a draw, or no contest, I apologize. No contest to Ross Pearson, and a loss to Michael Johnson in the UFC. Still unclear as to why they cut him. I mean, yeah, he was going back-to-back. So before the no contest, he beat Mac Danzig. He knocked him out. Before that, he was coming off of a 2-fight losing streak. But when you look at who he lost to, with the exception of... Okay, so one of them was to Donald Cerrone, the current number 1 contender, and is soon, I believe it's in December, fighting for the title. So there's that. So I don't think that really should... Okay, this is going to sound weird that I put it this way. I don't think that should have been kind of held against him, because Don Cerrone's been beating everybody. And then, of course, the other loss was to Jamie Varner, which he definitely should be held accountable for, because Jamie Varner kind of blows. Other fight that I'd like to cover. Again, I don't know a lot about most of the fighters on this. I just thought it'd be good to announce, try and get their name out there a little bit. They're big to some people, but to people who are only so-so fans, they won't know what this is. Again, the last card I was mentioning at Bellator 141 will be on tonight on Spike. I believe the card starts at 8 p.m. It's either 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. The next thing I would like to cover is INVICTA FC 14. Evinger versus... Why do people have to have difficult last names? Kianzad? Something like that. They open up the card. This is why I like INVICTA. INVICTA is for those who don't know, all-women's mixed martial arts organization. They open it up with 2 fighters at 0-0 in Rachel Wiley and Felicia Spencer. Very interested to see that fight, mostly because it's cool to see somebody kicking off their career. Following that, the second fight on the card is Aspen Ladd against Amanda Bobby Cooper. The third fight on that card is J.J. Aldrich and Deanna Cortman. After that is Jin Yufrey and Liz McCarthy. The fifth fight on the card is Jamie Moeller and Sharon Jacobson. The sixth fight on the card is Cindy Dandois and Megan Anderson. The seventh fight is Rachel Ostovich and Andrea Lee. The eighth fight on the card is the Happy Warrior Roxanne Monaferri against Mariana Moraes. The ninth fight is a name that I'm going to slaughter, I'm sure. Katja Kankapana? Kankainpa? Something like that. I don't know. And Deanna Bennett. The main event is Tonya Evinger against Pani Kianzad. Kianzad? I don't know. The reason I even mention this is because Roxanne Monaferri is on it. Roxanne, of course, was in The Ultimate Fighter 18. Rousey versus Tate were the coaches. And Roxanne is not a great fighter. She has good jiu-jitsu. She has decent jiu-jitsu. Her ground game is okay, but her striking is trash. I think, personally. I think if she could seriously get something underneath that and really work that out, it's gotten better since the Ultimate Fighter was basically non-existent. Now that she's worked her way out of the Ultimate Fighter, she's been cut by the UFC, gone to the INVICTA. It's gotten a little bit better. If that was her main focus point in camp, I think that she would be tough to beat because she has a pretty good chin, mixed in, of course, with her jiu-jitsu skills and her ability on the ground. I think she'd be a tough cookie to fight. So, of course, that's the reason I mentioned this. And, of course, the cherry on top of this mixed martial arts Sunday, if you will, is, of course, the UFC. The biggest of all the promotions. Most well-known as well. And that's UFC 191, Johnson versus Dodson 2. This fight has a special place in my heart because this was the first fight I ever went to. The first fight I ever went to was the first fight between Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson and Jad Dodson in Chicago. And that was like 3 years ago. So it has a near and dear place to me because I watched this fight and it was exciting and it was fun. And I'm hoping that's how this second one's going to be. This is on September 5th. A lot of other stuff, of course, going on September 5th. I'll get to that. They start the fight off with Nazareno Malagres and Raheem Silva. Second fight is Joe Riggs, Ron Stalling. I'm actually interested in that fight. I think Ron wins. Thiago dos Santos de Silva against Clay Collard. I picked Clay in that one. The fourth fight, now normally when it comes to women fighting, I have, of course, women fighters that I prefer and I enjoy watching. And then there's some where you just go, it's going to be a decision. Who cares? But there's one of my favorite female fighters on this card that's not well known there that way. So that way when I say the other one that I also am a huge fan of, it doesn't sound, weird. Number 4, Jessica Andrade against Raquel Rocky Pennington. Raquel Pennington was on the season, what did I say? It was 18 of The Ultimate Fighter. And she did extremely well, I thought. And I'm a big fan. She's one of the few contestants of that season that are still in the UFC. So hopefully she beats Jessica Andrade. I have her personally. I haven't in any of my counter teams. I don't have her in it because, well, one, it's a woman fight, and traditionally those go to decision, so that doesn't help my team. But I do think that Raquel, if she gets her hands on Jessica, can knock her out. She's got decent power. The fifth fight is Francisco Rivera against John Lineker. John Lineker, let me check something real quick. I'm trying to think. Did he step back down, or is he still at the weight they sent him to? Bantamweight. Okay, so assuming that Lineker makes weight, I'm hoping he does. The weigh-ins for that will be next Friday. I think he'll have a small leg up on Francisco Rivera just because of the power in his hands. I personally am not betting against Francisco Rivera. It's just a bad idea. But I could see where John has a small advantage. Sixth fight on the card is Paul Felder against Ross Pearson. I apologize for that. I'm going to go with Ross Pearson on this. He is a damn good fighter. Nothing against Paul Felder. It's just I think Ross's experience and everything else that Ross brings to the table is just going to outclass Paul. The number 7 fight, another fight I'm very excited for, is Paige 12 Gauge Van Zant against Alex Chambers. Paige Van Zant is one of my favorite female fighters. And I really hope she gets the win. That's all I have to say about that. Number 8 is Corey Anderson and John Blakowski. I always fuck his name up. Number 9 is a big fight to me, and that is an Anthony Rumble Johnson against Jimmy Manuwa. I hope Rumble beats him. That way he gets another shot at the belt. I really think... So, kudos to Daniel Cormier, DC, for winning the belt. I love you, man. You're awesome. However, when I heard that John got caught with coke and got stripped and all that, I'll admit, I was slightly disappointed because I really wanted to see Rumble Bones. It would have been a hell of a fight. Johnson Jones would have been incredible to watch. However, didn't get to see it. So, hopefully he gets another shot. And speaking of other shots, comes to number 10. The 10th fight on the card. Andrei Arlovski, Frank Mir. Andrei Arlovski has been on a fucking tear through the heavyweight division. And I don't know how he doesn't beat Frank. Sorry. Getting all runny over here. The reason I mainly say that, see, I came supplied. The main reason I don't think, I don't see Frank beating Andre unless he takes it to the ground. Of course, then again, I don't know much about Arlovski's ground game. If Andre does what I expect him to do to Frank, he will knock him out. And then hopefully Frank retires, because I like Frank a lot, and I really don't want to see him get seriously hurt. Andrei Arlovski was, I believe, once the heavyweight champ. He then, of course, either A, lost his belt or left. I know he eventually was done. And he's come back, and since he's come back, he's been on a fucking tear. So, I hope he beats Frank. Hope he gets a shot. You never know. Maybe you can win. And then, of course, the main event. Demetrius Mighty Mouse motherfucking Johnson against John, I believe his nickname is the Magician Dodson. Now, I don't see anybody now. Sorry. At the time, I thought Demetrius Johnson, the hardest competition he would fight would be Ali Bagatina, and he ran through him like he was standing still. So when I saw John Dotson against Demetrius Johnson, I had that backwards, of course. I went and saw it in Chicago. First fight I ever went to. Decent card. I remember not knowing who won. I had to wait for the decision. And I remember thinking, oh wow, I just need to see a rematch of this fight. And over the past 3 years, I've watched Demetrius fight a lot of guys. And all I can think is, no one's beaten Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse got that belt. It's staying with him. Can we find anybody who has even a fraction of a chance to beat Johnson? And I think that's John Dotson. I don't think he will beat him, but he's the only one who has a chance because John Dotson has the same speed as Demetrius Johnson, and he's got power in both hands. He's got okay ground game. So I'm very happy for this fight. I can't wait for it to happen. I don't know who's going to win. I'm picking Demetrius Johnson on counter move because he's the highest points player I've ever had. Fighter. I'll say fighter. Player's not correct. Point-wise. So it's just not wise to bet against Demetrius Johnson. But John has a significant chance. And a lot of people are discounting him because of Demetrius Johnson. But Dotson really does have a chance here. All right. Other news that's coming up. Of course, this weekend is the third week of preseason football. Trying to think who all is playing this weekend. I mean, off the top of my head, that'll be a good game to watch. Of course, tonight I'll be watching Lions. They're playing the Jags. I'm interested to see who stays on that team. Decent team now. We're getting there. Slowly but surely. Other than that, I don't think there's any really... I don't know who else playing, so I'm sure wherever you are, you're going to watch your team, your local team. And of course, college football is coming up. That's why I said September 5th. Other things are going on. Michigan plays Utah State. And that's on the 4th, I think. I think they play Friday night. It's either like Thursday or Friday night. I assume Michigan State will play on the 5th. And the only game that I'm personally interested, 100% personally invested in, is with a team that I've talked about a little bit, mostly because I'm a huge fan of them. And I can never find any of their merchandise in Michigan because all we have is Michigan gear and Michigan State gear. Occasionally you'll find University of Indiana, but you never find my favorite team. It's probably a hating thing. They hate on us because we beat you pretty much every year. If we lose to Michigan, we beat Michigan State. And if we lost to Michigan State, we beat Michigan. That's normally how it was. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's just a hate us thing. They hate us because they ain't us. Sorry, I had to say that at least once. That's, of course, from the interview. I have to make sure I don't get sued. This, of course, is the University of Notre Dame. I purchased this when I was traveling through the lovely state of Indiana. Well, actually, I can't say it was 100% lovely because I went past Gary. God, does that still smell like shit. Go past down the highway. It does not smell pretty. I hate to live there. Just because I don't think you'd ever get used to it. But, of course, other than that, I'm trying to think anything else big going on. That's pretty much it. Just kind of kicking back, watching stuff. Sorry, I keep looking up at my TV here. Watching the SEC Network. They're interviewing a couple coaches. They showed some tape. Get comfortable again. They showed some tape of LSU practicing. They look like they're going to have a hell of a season. I only have them. So they were discussing something that I 100% agree with them on this. The schedule and who they think they'll beat and who they think they'll lose to. I really only see them losing. They said to 2 teams. I think only to 1, and that would be Alabama. And even then, I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it'll be a decent game, a close game. And of course, they think they'll lose to, I think they had it, that they lost to Alabama and whoever they play the week after that. I don't know off the top of my head now. So hopefully they'll have a decent year. So I said I would cover a video game. I recently purchased Forza Horizon 2. I had the first one on 360. I bought this one for the One. And you know what? The game is... How did I word it to somebody else? The graphics... He asked me how the graphics work, because that's kind of, the big thing. I'm a huge gameplay guy. I just like how it is, how it feels, how it looks. Of course, that goes in with the graphics. I'd stop talking on my ass for a second. The game itself is very fun. If you're not really into racing games, this game might even actually interest you because it's not just going around in circles. They have you do other things. There's other stuff you can do. You can free roam in multiplayer, which you can do by yourself, which I'm personally a fan of because sometimes I just want to drive around and do nothing. Why? Because I'm weird. I do the same thing on Call of Duty. I play in private mode alone. Why? I just like to shoot stuff. But it's a fun game. There's stuff that you have to go find on other cars and things that you don't have to, but it's worth it. But I was asked by somebody how the graphics were. How does it look? And here is the only way I have been able. I've tried to find a good organic word, a good word in the English language that truly expresses how great the graphics are. And the only thing that I can think of is it's orgasmic. It's amazing. You wouldn't. So it's like driving in the actual outside, like right now. If you were to get in your car and drive down the street, that's what it looks like. It's incredible. Of course, other games that are coming out that I'm very interested in. One came out on Monday. I'm yet to get it. At least I think it came out Monday or Tuesday. And that's Madden 16. I plan on getting that hopefully this weekend. Let you know how that goes. Of course, this comes out in November. NHL also. Sorry, that popped in my head real quick. NHL 16 I'm very interested in getting. Even though the Blackhawks are on the cover of it. That's okay. I can always get a picture of Dot so you can just replace it. You think I'm kidding. I'm not. I almost did it with the cover of NCAA 14. But then I decided against it. Another game that comes out in November that I'm very interested in. I don't know when NHL comes out. I think it might come out in November, for all I know. It's either that or like the end of September. I believe it comes out Let me Google it so that way I'm not getting this wrong. This game I'm actually like 100% interested in. Ugh. Oh, it gave me the original. No, not the original, the new one. November 17th, which is like a Wednesday. Tuesday. I apologize. It's a Tuesday. I was close. The only reason I know that's because the 15th is Sunday. It's opening day for gun season. Because I realized I'll be up there for opening day, and that's it. And that is Star Wars Battlefront. I'm very interested in that. I know I sound like a mega nerd when I say this, but you know what? The game looks very good. It looks fun. I remember playing the original So ready for some blast to the past. I remember playing Battlefront, the first one, which was released in 2004, which is how I got the when I said, "Oh, they gave me the original," on the original Xbox. Doesn't that make you feel old? Which, by the way, I'm looking for one. If anyone has any leads on getting one for cheap, I'm looking for an original Xbox. Star Wars Battlefront will only come out on next-gen systems. It will, of course, come out on Microsoft Windows. But it also comes out on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Will not come out on the 360, which is A, good thing, and B, a bad thing. Bad thing for those who don't have one. For those who don't have one that really, or PlayStation 4, that really sucks for you. I'm sorry that they have to do this. Good thing. That's how good the graphics are going to be. Which I have to say, again, incredible. But, yeah, like I said, very, very interested. Looks amazing. So, of course, in some of these, I've covered movies. Another little leap to the next thing that I want to quick cover. I'm a huge moviegoer. I love movies. I recently went and saw a movie with my cousin. And originally, I weighed whether or not I really wanted to go see it, because I don't like to spend, $45 to go see one fucking movie, when I could have gone to Meijer and bought like 4 of them at that price. The theater is way too expensive. That's why I don't normally go. I'll wait until it comes out. I'll wait 6 weeks after it comes out, and then I'll go to Meijer and buy it for $5. You think I'm kidding? Try it sometime. It works. Because we were selling it $28.95. Wait 3 weeks. It'll be $10. Watch it. I'm dead serious. I used to have to spend 2 hours a day in there. I know how much shit goes for. But I went and saw Sinister 2. Now, I saw the first Sinister. I own the first Sinister. Great movie. Now, I need to explain what goes on. So I have to use a term that I'm not fond of, but I get why you need to do it, and that is, for those who have not seen, for those who haven't seen either of them, stop listening right now. For those who have seen the first one, not the second one, spoilers. I'm going to give some shit away because I have to. So, in the first one, that's starting now. In the first movie, it's Ethan Hawke sitting in front of the camera, watching the tapes, trying to figure out how these people died, what happened to him. He finds out about Babool, and all the shit happens. In the second movie, they flip-flopped it, which made it great, I thought. I mean, it was a good movie. It wasn't as good as the first one. The first one, in pretty much any series, the first one is going to be better than the second. The second one, still pretty good. The second one, like I said, is flip-flopped. I'm going to murder this woman's name. Suzanne Susome, something like that. She's in Catacombs. It's the only reason I even know who that is. Another good movie. She's on the run from her abusive husband. And I don't know if she's trying to get a divorce. I don't remember if they say that or not. Or if she just left him. And she took her 2 boys. Now, they move in to this abandoned house. Her friend's a realtor, and she goes, "This place is abandoned. No one lives there. These people were murdered on the property. Don't worry about it. That's why people won't live there." Do you remember the detective sheriff? Sorry, I apologize. He was a sheriff in the first movie that helped out Ethan Hawke. Tried to help him out. He's in this movie, and he's figured out that it's the house, not the tape. So he starts burning the houses down. And he goes to burn this one down, and he finds out people live there, and he just says, "You gotta be fucking kidding me. Don't leave. Stay here. Don't move. Stay in this house." Because he doesn't want anything to happen to him. Well, like I said, they flip-flopped it. So now instead of someone watching the tapes to figure out what the hell is going on, it's the dead kids showing one of the children they want to take their tapes and going, this is mine, and showing it, and they take a they use the bully angle, I like to call it. Your mother hasn't done anything for you. They try to be manipulative. Your brother beats the shit out of you. You should kill him. And it's a great way to flip it, to show how the kids, get to that point. Because in the first movie, it of course afflicts the daughter, and you're really not sure how she ends up meeting, Bagul. It's never really explained, because she doesn't watch the tapes. It's something that, that's how it's supposed to be, right? That he lives in the images. Well, it's not explained in the first one how she figured it out, how she gets to him, because she never views the images. Her father does. And it's claimed, again, it's possible. I see that it's possible. She could have gone in his office and watched one of them. But it's said, like, 18 times in the movie, I keep my office locked unless I'm in it. And even when I'm in it, the door's locked behind me. And don't go in there. But that's something that was, never explained. And it's kind of explained in the first one, that the children influence, and that's how they get them to view it. It's very worthwhile. Good movie. And a question that I had actually read on a forum, again, huge spoiler here, was, photography has only been around for X amount of years. I don't remember the exact date. I apologize. So, if he lives in images, and there hadn't been images, how did he get this far? You figure out that he can transport himself, I guess would be the way to word it, without imagery. There's another way that they get people to. It's creepy. It's really good. Yeah, good movie. Totally advise that you watch it. And I'm going to end on that creepy note for you. Once again, I'd like to send a huge thank you out to Joe Rogan and the JRE, the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and to Science. And of course, I'm not sponsored by either of you, although if you'd like to sponsor me, that'd be fantastic. I'm a huge fan of both of you. I apologize to those who may not understand my note from the beginning. I just had to get that off my chest, and for bawling my fucking eyes out. But, I'm seriously attached. Still am seriously attached to my dog. So, thank you. And I hope y'all have a lovely day, evening, whenever the fuck you watch this. Oh, whew. I didn't have this clicked on. I had it minimized behind my screen. I just noticed it's still on. Oh, good. I was like, please hope I haven't been saying this and it's not recording. But, thanks, guys, and, bye. As soon as I figure out how to shut this thing off. All right, there we go. Bye.